Yeah. So hey, how's everybody doing? Well, the morning, everyone. How you doing? Okay, that's not what I wanted. How's everybody doing now? Well, that was a fun night, wasn't it? So the red wave that many were predicting and a lot of people were hoping for did not happen. The results were nowhere near as disastrous for the incumbent party, the Democrats, as they could have been, and the opposition party, the Republicans, did not pick up the seats that they needed to. It hasn't been a. It was not a referendum. Yeah, it's touted as a referendum, but you know what? It fell short of the sweep. Now, this is the first. Now, listen, I don't generally talk politics, and I'll probably move this kind of talk over to my American Robot channel for future reference. But however, I just wanna get this out of the way. This is a little exercise for me. Let's just take a look at some of the races here. The Senate race. It looks like Mark Kelly is going to win the Senate. Raphael Warnock and Herschel Walker are headed to a runoff. That they neither candidate garnered 50% of the vote, and now they're going to go to a runoff. Dr. Oz conceded to John Fetterman last night. Looks like Lauren Boebert may lose her seat in Colorado. Governor Moseszelak of Nevada, he is apparently losing to what's his face? I don't know, but I can't remember the guy's name. The former sheriff. Hochul won in New York, the governorship. Ned Lamont in my home state of Connecticut, he won a second term. Listen, he did a pretty good job. Very interesting. I think Trump has competition on his hands from DeSantis for the next president. I'll talk about that in a minute, MH. Now, it looks as though that a lot of polls were indeed off. A lot of polls were, as of late, showing the Democrats getting blown out. That did not happen. That didn't happen. It was not a wave election. Nowhere near as close. Nowhere. I mean, listen. The Tea Party election the Tea Party wave in 2010. That was a wave election. We had these guys come sweeping into the government, into the guys like Rand Paul, Paul Ryan, those guys. I think we may be seeing the last. I hate being predictive because it's going to be proved wrong. But the Tea Party wave, I think there's very little chance of that happening again. You have, like I said, Warnock. How Warnock is going to run off against Herschel Walker, to me, is inexplicable. Pardon me, it's my coffee coming up here. You had Josh Shapiro. That's kind of a beating Mastriano in Pennsylvania. I mean, geez. Listen, I'm not one to make bold predictions, but keep your eye on this guy, Josh Shapiro. Now, this guy he's going to be, he could very well be a star coming up in the Democratic Party. And I'm going to get to, hey, Simon Links, how you doing, Cowboy? To be honest, I have no idea what to vote for, especially since my autism makes it really hard to trust people, so it's even harder to trust a politician. Well, the whole part about that is we got to get money out of politics. We got to get the big money because it's just poisoning the well. Apparently, the worst performing Republicans were majority Trump picked, or am I wrong? No, you were actually reading that correct. A lot of the Trump picked backed Republicans got absolutely drubbed. Carrie Lake last time I checked, was losing badly. Gretchen Whitmer looks like she's going to be hanging on to her seat. The one guy, one Republican that did well is Ron DeSantis, and that may bode. I'm going to go against the gray here. That may be disastrous for him because now he has a target on his back. The establishment is going to want him to carry the torch for him, but I don't think Trump is going to allow that, and he's going to become a target. A lot of the establishment Republicans are breathing a sigh of relief that, I guess that the majority of the we'll call them MAGA Republicans were defeated. Let's see if I can find some more results here. Who will control the Senate? I mean, pollsters seem to have a good night. This is from 538, Nate Silver's website here. North Carolina, I mean, a lot of races are too close to call. But Bud looks like he's going to defeat Beasley. Now, the governor race, as I said, Ned Lamont won in Connecticut. It looks like Maura Healey. It looks like Democrats going to win in Massachusetts. Democrats are also going to win in Maryland, if I'm reading this right. I really do wish they would show the maps better. I mean, a lot of these, I hate these. Final Senate update. Governor's final governor's update. Forecast. Again, it looks... Here's the thing. Now, listen, I'm going to get introspective for a minute. Here's the thing. Over the past 6 years, we have had to deal with a lot of people. Now, listen, I'm not saying certain people don't have any business entering in politics, but we've had a lot of people that have been very self-aggrandizing and very self-serving coming into the political arena. Now, I know a lot of people view themselves as outsiders. A lot of people, Lauren Boebert's an outsider, Roger Taylor Greene's an outsider. But yet, at the same time, as an outsider, you come in, and those types of people have contributed absolutely nothing. Well, thank you, Mr. MH. Thank you. Lauren Boebert and Marjorie Taylor Greene and that faction of the quote-unquote conservative party, the MAGA Republicans, have done more harm than good. A lot of them have crippled any sort of legislation, on either side. This is far from a both sides issue. A lot of them have crippled any legislation that has been that would have benefited a lot of people. They have gummed up the works of democracy. They have engaged in conspiracy theories. Marjorie Taylor Greene actually read internet memes on the floor of Congress. Now, if this is any sort of indicator, which I'm hoping it is, it's going to say to the people like that, you know what? You've had your fun. Now it's time for the adults to get to work. And there's going to be an impeachment of Joe Biden, and there's going to be investigations into Hunter Biden, yeah, no doubt. And there's going to be conspiracy theories. The lizard people are going to take over, like, whatever, If Biden runs in 2022, listen, I'm not a fan of Joe Biden running in 2022. Okay, 2024 rather. I'd rather see somebody more. Honest to God, I'd rather see Bernie run again. Rob, is Trump popular as he thinks he is? Trump is not as he is not as popular as he thinks he is. A lot of people are sick of him in the U.S. I think you're from Australia, and a lot of people here are absolutely sick and tired of him. And it is not just the mean tweets; it is the corrosive nature of how he has conducted himself, of how he has sown doubt, and how he has manipulated the electoral system, and how he has poisoned the well for a lot of people that would really do a lot of good. Thanks to him, we have this idea now that if if I win an election, it was just and fair, and if I lose, well, obviously someone stole it. You had Tim Ryan in Ohio. Tim Ryan, actually, he was a class act. He conceded the election last night to his opponent in the transfer of power. He said, "You know what? That's what we do. This is what we're about. If we lose an election, we congratulate the winner very graciously. Behind the scenes, he must say, oh, that son of a biscuit. I can't believe I lost to him." But at the same time, you put on a brave face. You go out there and you say, "Well, congratulations, my opponent. Fortunately, we did not have the night we thought we were going to have. The result did not turn out the way we wanted, but we will adhere to the results. The public has spoken, and going forward, we look forward to working with the new elected official and to make the lives of our people better." That is what you're supposed to do. You are not supposed to say there's going to be riots in the streets and I'll be demonetized. You're not supposed to say there's going to be bad things happening. There's not going to say necessarily we're gonna F things up. But you look at the issues. But take a look at there could be now. Listen, there's a lot of people that say that there's no difference between either party. But if you take a look at what constitutes the issues people hold dear to them and people value and people believe important. And I mean, on one side, you have things like reproductive rights, health care, higher minimum wage. And on another side, you have CRT, critical race theory. You have stopping trans people from grooming your kids. You have all these culture war issues, standing for the national anthem. Okay, that's all well and good. Stand for the national anthem, that's all well and good. But you know what? At the end, when all is said and done, great, a football player stands for the national anthem. I still don't make enough money. My kids aren't educated. My kid can't read. I'm losing my job. I can't put food on the table. How does a football player standing for the national anthem or stopping a kid from being read a story by a guy in makeup, how does that fix any of that? It doesn't. It doesn't. So I'm hopeful, and hope is not a strategy, that a lot of this is being put to rest. A lot of this is not, I hate to say, I don't want to say we're in the last throes of this, but the fact that there's been a more or less rejection of this kind of conspiracy theorist policy agenda, and that it was not the wholesale drubbing of one side that many were predicting gives me optimism that we are starting to turn a corner in this nation. I guess that's why I don't call myself a classical liberal. All right, Sanguine Links. Hey, take care. I'll leave this up. Like what I saw, Carl. She generally cares about her state. I don't doubt that she cares about her state. I don't doubt that people like Carrie Lake care about their state, just as I care about my state, just like everybody else. Mecca cares about her state, or people care about their nation, or about how Mr. MH you care about Australia, or Morbid Fury cares about Australia, or Full Mox Chicken cares about the UK. What I'm saying is that the things that they are proposing do not go in any way, go to any length to solve any real problems. Because that's just oh, for God's sake, I moved the camera. Because that is just a show. Because that's largely for show. What happens is, Carrie Lake, she says, "Oh yeah, I'm about protecting kids." I'm like, well, who doesn't who doesn't want to protect kids? Oh, all about protecting kids. I'm going to protect the kids, protect the children, protect the children, protect the children. And they get in there, and ultimately, what happens is, they enact the same policies: tax cuts for the rich, deregulation. I mean, you can talk about freedom, but at the same time, like I said, isn't the whole QAnon movement cause for concern? Yeah, I'll get to that in a second. You want to talk about freedom? I mean, freedom is not riding around on a motorcycle, falling off and crashing into a ditch, then bleeding out because you don't have health insurance. Freedom, there are. Listen, they talk about freedom. One side talks about freedom coming from God. I mean, God may give you freedom, but somebody has to ensure that it's protected. And the whole idea that you have one side preaching about freedom, but they're taking it away simultaneously is just kind of antithetical to what I've come to know as freedom. Isn't the whole QAnon movement cause for concern with MAGA Republicans? Isn't that movement part of the reason why Republicans have not performed well? Mr. MH, I would have to agree with you. I think part of it is that movement has become an albatross around their neck because a lot of these people are just bat crap crazy. I mean, this whole idea. I mean, you look at people like, AJ, like Salty Cracker. Even Tim Pool delves into the QAnon stuff. And Tim Pool and Joe Rogan is actually another one. Now, this whole idea of Joe Rogan, and Tim Pool does it, and Joe Rogan does it, and they put on this act, hey man, like I'm calling out both sides. I'm a liberal who's seen the light. But all Tim Pool and Joe Rogan do is that they know how to game the YouTube algorithms. They know how to game the algorithms, and they both sell a lot of crap to you. I mean, why do you think Tim Pool makes 10,000 videos about the Civil War? The other thing about that whole Q movement, I mean, listen, you can read anything you want into it, but at the same time, I mean, you can see, like, I can see this thing on my desk. I have a In-N-Out Burger sticker on my over here. In-N-Out Burgers, like, oh my God, that arrow is pointing. The In-N-Out arrow is always pointing north. It's always pointing north. There's a secret cabal located in the northern states. They're gonna take over. They're waiting for their chance to take over. Oh, the red. That's the red of the blood of children. They're sacrificing in the basement. Like, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? Nature's Spring Valley supplement. Oh my God, Spring Valley supplements. Oh my God, look, spring. Why is it green? It's green. Why is it green? Why is it 450 milligrams? 450 is the latitude that this person lives at. And I'm like, I think that now. Now that I've shown you, I'm like, there's only one response I have to that. And it's the same response my parents used to say to me every time I used to say some kind of outlandish thing. And what everybody should be saying to every Q associated person who repeats this stuff. Whether it's, whether they believe George Soros is manipulating the government, Bigfoot, lizard people. And that is this. My parents used to say this to me all the time. You watch too much television. That's it. That's the only response you can have. You watch too much television. Talk about needing to go outside and touch grass. I mean, those people are nuts. But like I said, the whole idea of now that hopefully we're going to get back to some sort of serious governance. That's my hope, but you never know. It could just backfire on me horrendously. It could very well just. Now let's take a look at more results here, so you can find 5:30 election results. Abortion rights reshaping American politics, and that was the thing. That was invariably the tipping point. That was invariably the tipping point right here. In that, a lot of this did come down to abortion rights. Hey, Techie Mantis, how you doing? The problem is that they did go out and touch grass, and then the windows. And then Windows, and then the Speaker's office. Yeah, you're right. Here's the thing. In my lifetime, I never have seen a right that was guaranteed by the Supreme Court taken away. That was the thing. That was the thing that galvanized a lot of people. Trump called DeSantis, Robb, the sanctimonious. That's pretty cool. That's pretty petty. Yeah, he's a petty. Listen, a lot of people think. I'll address this in a minute. But the whole idea about abortion and to say that, oh no, they're throwing it back to the states. Let me take a look. Hold on. Let me take a look. There were several ballot measures. Up to saying, I don't want to reveal my search history on the air here. Hold on, let me get that up here. Let me see what we got here. I don't want to reveal abortion on the ballot results. Okay, here we go. From the New York, if I can get the New York Times. No, not the New York Times. Do I have a background to put up there? I guess I've got a background. Here we go. There we go. Starfield. Put a Starfield up. That's a nice background. The Hill, from The Hill. Voters. Oh, here we go. Man, I don't want anybody to see my naughty search results. Lots of lesbian vampire porn. Voters support abortion rights in all 5 states with ballot measures. Voters in California, Michigan, Vermont Tuesday approved ballot measures ensuring abortion rights into their states' constitutions, while those traditionally red states, Montana and Kentucky, rejected measures that are restrictive access to reproductive care. Vote signal support for abortion rights. The Supreme Court and overturned landmark 1973 Roe v. Wade case, a constitutional right procedure. In August, Kansas also rejected a ballot measure that would give state legislation authority to restrict access through a constitutional amendment. Ballot votes came amid high-profile Senate and House races, some which candidate running for office nationwide had hardline views on abortion access. Already in post-Roe America, half the states have removed restricted action. And that's the thing here. Republicans, including Senator Lindsey Graham, have proposed a 15-week national abortion ban, though other members of the party have supported leaving the issue up to the states. And that's the thing. And that's the thing here. And that is the thing. That's what we're getting at. For the people, and I've heard people like Salty Cracker and Tim Pool and all the other guys on Tim Pool's, oh, no, they're not banning it. It's going to be up to the states. Lindsey Graham proposed a bill that would ban it nationwide. Mike Pence, former vice president, wants to ban it nationwide. What makes you think that they're not going to try? Well, no, they won't try. No, the lesson here is that when they tell you who they are, believe them. Because it's not going to stop. This whole idea of originalism. Yeah, the right wants it banned, though. There's this whole idea of originalism that many have. And, if it's not, if the Constitution says it, then you know what? Then it's not if it's not in the Constitution, it's not a guaranteed right. When I was going to school, we learned that the Constitution is a living document and that the Supreme Court of the United States is there to interpret that document. And Roe v. Wade fell under the Fourth Amendment, the right to privacy, and that the government had no business telling you what kind of medical procedures you can and cannot get. Salty Cracker seems to like Vladimir Putin. It's kind of a weird claim being an American patriot. Yeah, let me tell you something. When I was a kid, that we hated the Russians. We absolutely hated the Russians. We didn't want to nuke them. We didn't want to launch missiles. We didn't want to go to war with them, but we hated the Russians. Every 4 years in the Olympics, we want to stick it to the Russians. When we beat the Soviets in 1980 at Lake Placid, I remember, oh my God, I remember watching that game with my parents in their living room. We were all gathered around the TV set watching the game because the game was actually played at 4:30 in the afternoon. And we were trying our best to avoid hearing the score all day. Then they played that game. And when you heard Al Michaels scream, "Do you believe in miracles?" Yes. And Ken Dryden said, "Unbelievable." Man, let me tell you, that was a moment. But now, Salty Cracker would he'd be putting money on the Soviets. In 1980s, they told us to hate the Russians. Yeah, okay, fine. But we hated the Russians. But you know what? Let me tell you. You do need an adversary in your life. I mean, listen, you can't just give people you can't give Putin whatever he wants. Oh, Anthony Way, happy birthday. But at the same time, but back to what we were talking about. There is this idea of the Constitution, what's called originalism, that if the Constitution doesn't lay it out specifically, in that it doesn't give you the right to something. Well, you know what? We have a lot of things that we have that are not in the Constitution specifically. The Air Force, NASA, the National Weather Service, highways, the global positioning system. All this is paid for by the government. And if some people were to get their way, they would say that's unconstitutional. But the other part is that listen, you have to. I see this as very much drawing a line in the sand. Hi, Substance D. How you doing? I see this very much as this midterm election is drawing a line in the sand. In that you say, nope, no, listen, stop, enough. In California, an overwhelmingly blue state, 68% of voters had approved similar measure enshrining abortion rights into the state constitution, while roughly 31% rejecting it. And as California goes, the nation goes. A lot is the saying. Kentucky, voters faced a ballot measure that would declare there is no right to an abortion in the state constitution, similar to a Kansas measure that was rejected. According to New York Times tracker, 52% of Kentucky voters rejected the move, while 42.7% supported it. Now that is very telling for Kentucky to reject that. Can I use a space background? Let me see. Same time? Background? Okay. No, the space background? Okay, I don't think it has sound. But anyway, 53% of Montana voters rejected a ballot measure, while 46% of percent supported it. So again, this is a bell. Is the right word bellwether? This is a bellwether in that we have to get back to some sort of sane semblance of governing. The Constitution may say the right to bear arms. Right to bear arms can give them a cannon and set. Let's go back. And cannon, give them cannon. They can plant their lawn, but automatic and semi-automatic weapons, no need. So yes, you're correct. I'm in Massachusetts, and here these right-wing nuts, when I go places like corner stores, they say pandemic was a myth and other conspiracy theories like Pelosi, husband was the hoax. They're insane. Yes, that is actually. We started hearing that immediately. Pelosi's husband. Oh, that was a part of a gay love triangle, part of a gay orgy. A lot of stuff, like I said, again, a lot of stuff is just like you watch too much television. What is wrong with you? Why would you believe this? Oh, well, it's not impossible. I'm like, yeah, a lot of stuff says the whole problem, again, the whole problem. No, there's inflation in America. There's also inflation worldwide. So it's not just restricted to the U.S. But again, the whole problem. Now listen, I'm just a dilettante, okay? I'll confess that I don't know. There's a lot of stuff that I don't know. But my take on it is that when you start taking rights away, there's going to be no end to it. Now, I'm all for, listen, the whole thing about, now people say, well, the Second Amendment. The Second Amendment, okay, listen, the Second Amendment is very clearly states, if you're an originalist, if you're what you call an originalist, a well-regulated militia being necessary to secure a free state, the right to bear arms shall not be, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Now, what that means is, shipping fuel companies started it. Every other corporation started abusing the name of supply chain. That's correct. Now, what that means is that the government is going to allow you to keep guns so that it can raise an army to protect said government, to protect the people. Because Washington and Madison didn't want a standing army. They thought that was just one step removed from a dictatorship, from a military dictatorship. Washington and Madison said that the militias could do the job. Washington, in 1794, used the Second Amendment to recruit a 13,000-man army to crush the Whiskey Rebellion and collect taxes by force. But that little fact is overlooked by a lot of people. Now you're going to say, now there's the whole thing about other thing about the Second Amendment is, well, why don't we? I always ask, what is the militia? And what is the militia? The militia is essentially the National Guard now, your local police force. Yes, COVID did have more to do with inflation. Yes, because the supply chains got disrupted. But now what we're seeing is corporations, we're seeing people like Walmart and others exploiting that. There weren't enough truck drivers for a while to deliver goods, but we're seeing people exploit that. Now, okay, the debate about what is the militia in the 21st century, I don't hear that debate. And here's the thing: what made the militias obsolete was, in fact, the American Civil War, because in order to fight in another state, you had the state militias, but in order to fight in another state, you had to become a citizen of that state, which made it a terribly inefficient system. And that was all put to rest when we legalized the National Guard in 1903 with something called the Dick Act. I mean, we also have things like the Defense Production Act. I mean, there was a man actually in my hometown, A.C. Gilbert. They wanted him to make weapons. And he says, no, it's more important to the morale of the country that we continue making toys. Cowabunga, honestly, I think some of the Constitution needs to be updated. Yeah, the Constitution definitely does need to be updated. The Constitution definitely does need to be updated. But that is hence why it's a living document. That it can be amendment. We haven't passed an amendment in ages to the Constitution. And I understand that it's a heavy lift. But you know what? I thought we were Americans. I thought we were used to do I thought we were up to a challenge. Apparently not. Do they want America to be like Lebanon, Rob? Lebanon has militias, religious tensions, left and right wing. and resulted in a devastating civil war. Well, you have certain people that seem to be itching for a civil war, but the problem is that it's not going to be North versus South. There's no clear battle lines. You'll see, and Bill Maher actually said this. This is a I say Bill Maher is a pretentious windbag, but at the same time, it will be acts of stochastic terrorism, like we've seen with Paul Pelosi. Like abortion clinics will be bombed. And as I was saying before, once you start taking away rights, and this Supreme Court is actually like the Lochner Court back in the 20s, that was staunchly pro-corporation, pro-business. Probably the most conservative court ever was the Lochner Court. Now, I'm not one to, say about, okay, business is business. But, like I said, again, if we're looking at another situation like the Lochner Court, then you know what? I think one of the things is that the Supreme Court does need to be expanded. At the very least, from 9 justices to 11. There is nothing in the Constitution that says you cannot expand the number of justices on the court. So it's completely constitutional. Again, we're going to start to see more rights fall away if it doesn't stop, if we don't stop this in our tracks. The idea that, it's going back to the states, no, that is a fairy tale in order to lull you into complacency. That we're throwing these rights back to the states, states' rights. But you know what? For all the talk about the Constitution, the 10th Amendment gives you the right to certain things that are not specifically enumerated in the Constitution. American Civil War would last 2 minutes with Karens losing. Anyway, I'm hoping that this election, again, this red wave election, that didn't happen. I'm hoping that this signals to the nation that, hey, you know what? We really need to stop and take a look at ourselves in the mirror. And I really am hoping that this is a signal to say, hey, you know what? Yeah, governing is hard. All these people that just want to do that, all these people that just want to investigate Hunter Biden, okay, go away. Just go away. Sit over there. Okay, talk amongst yourselves. Let the adults get back. Because Roe's not the only one. It's going to be Oberfeld, which guarantees the right to gay marriage. It's going to be voting rights. It's going to be a lot of things that are going to. Interestingly enough, it's not going to be interracial marriage because Clarence Thomas is in an interracial marriage. The Green New Deal isn't the answer. Well, we need a second New Deal. We need a second New Deal. I'm what you call I'm an FDR Democrat. Listen, if you make people's lives materially better, they will vote for you. FDR won 4 times. He was president he won 4 terms. They had to pass an amendment to keep him from winning. But this whole thing, we need national. First of all, we need national standards for elections. We need to move election day to Saturday or Sunday, so that way we can get more people to vote. We need to move it to Saturday or Sunday to get more people to vote. The other thing is we need national standards. We have states running elections like they did in the 1800s, and we're not all illiterate dirt farmers who have to hitch up the buggy to go into town and to go vote at the city hall. And now, as I've cast my ballot, Jebediah. Texas GOP chairman DeSantis offers winning brand for party. Well, here's the problem with DeSantis is that you could easily beat a guy like DeSantis on a national level. because first of all, I did a video on the Disney thing. The Disney thing didn't result in the big windfall for Florida residents. The Reedy Creek autonomous zone, Reedy Creek zone that they had, all they did was they renamed it. It's still there. They just gave it another name. And the other thing too is DeSantis is about as compelling a personality as wet paint. He's like watching paint dry. Yeah, he's Trump's mini-me, but now you've sparked a civil war with him. Okay, well, I don't know how much more I've got in the tank for this, but like I said, there are some interesting races around the country. We're gonna see what happens in the coming days and weeks, and hopefully, like I said, with any luck, I'm hoping, again, but hope's not a strategy, that this is going to return us to some sort of serious form of governance. I really am hoping for that. I could be wrong, but I think it's going to take, listen, and it's important. And it's important, listen, it's important not just to be gracious in winning, it's important to be gracious in losing. I know I've said that. But I think what we have to do is, and it's not about demonizing the other side. You have that family member that you don't necessarily want to talk politics about with, who shows up at Thanksgiving. Oh yeah, they just sit. You just, hey, how's the football game? The sons of bitches there didn't stand for the national anthem. Oh yeah, that's nice, Uncle Henry. I thought you guys actually voted today. No, it was yesterday. So anyway, but like I said, if you don't stop now, if you don't stop this kind of thing now, then eventually they're going to come for pot. They're going to come for, like I said, I'm a big advocate of legalizing pot, even though I don't smoke it. I'm a big advocate of it. Because why not? We legalize alcohol. So, I mean, and I think what's going to happen is, Peg Leg Pete, I've been live for about 45 minutes now. I think both sides, we have way too much corporatism. Yes, there's a lot of big money. There's a lot of big money in politics. We gotta get a lot of big money out of it. We gotta get. Someone once said I should run for office. I'm like, do you know how bad a president I would be? I was gonna run for mayor of my town, and my whole platform was that I was going to approve of municipally owned broadband internet. I was gonna fix the roads. And then I was going to immediately resign and declare a new election. Black Shaggy said, "That's right. Black Shaggy should be president." Yeah, that's right. That's right. Black Shaggy should be president. That's right. So the idea was that, like I said, municipal broadband, fix the roads, and then declare a new election. That way, you would clear out anybody who had spent their money already, and people, all their coffers are empty. Then the new election would be in 3 weeks. So you would have people that would have to make the strongest case. They would have to make the strongest case for wanting to be mayor or selectman or whatever it was. I would make a great ruler of Australia. Yes, all hot women would have to sunbathe nude. And I would appoint Doomcock and Mr. MH on the committee to determine the appropriate level of hotness. Okay, the committee of hotness has met, and we've approved your permit for nude sunbathing. Thank you. It'll be mailed with you, and it'll be mailed to you in 2 to 3 weeks. Come up here to Canada and replace Trudeau. Well, I like hockey. I like hockey. So I mean, I like hockey. I like Canadian bacon, even though it's just really just ham. All right. Well, anyway. That's I wanted to do this. I thought it'd be kind of thought provoking. I don't do these kind of streams very often. This stream will remain up, so you can curse me out. You can tell me how wrong I am. You can tell me if I'm right. You can tell me I don't care. You can call me a commie, whatever. And hey, just I'll leave this up. But it's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be interesting in the next 2 years with the split Congress. So everyone, have a good rest of your day. I might be back later with a stream of the game stream on Twitch. I'm not sure yet. Beck will be back making chili at some point. And we... What was that? 3 West Coast. 3 Pacific time. 6 Eastern, 5 Central, 4 Mountain, 3 Pacific time. Those are your times. So make a note. Yes, I do love bacon. Anthony Way, and I've been eating a lot of...
Happy birthday, Anthony Way.
Happy birthday, Anthony Way. And I've been eating a lot of pork rinds lately. And I found out that Zabu actually likes pork rinds. I don't give him a lot, but he likes pork rinds. But anyway, I will catch you all next time. So again, there's Cat Cam.
You see him? Let me see.
Yeah, here. So yeah, there he is in the corner. There he is.
He's sleeping.
He's sleeping. That's his natural state, sleeping.
Sleep.
Sleepies.
He stole that bag as a bed now.
Yeah, that bag is his bed now. Let's get pork line Brian for a week. So take care, Rob. I have to actually pick up some meds too. All right, everybody. There's the Cat Cam. He's doing well. Everyone, take care of yourselves. We'll see you back for Mecca stream, Chili stream over on her channel. 6 Eastern, 3 Pacific. And we...
I have a new video, too.
She has a new video about Indiana Jones. Everyone, take care of yourselves. Have a good rest of your day. No drinking, no driving. We want to see you back here. And we will